All right, so you're listening to mspwaves Radio. I'm your host, Skanky J. I have on air with me Clayboyn. Clay is a junior moderator of the Minnow Support Project, a vocal philosopher, and a phenomenal young man, and I'm pleased to have him on the show. Clay, what brings you on the air tonight?
Look, I don't know if you've heard or not, but there's these things going around called bid bots, and people are just like losing their mind. Have you heard anything about this?
I ran a little meeting about it. I got some folks together. I put something on the block about it. And I'd heard some concerns. And if I recall correctly, you may have actually been there.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I think a lot of people get the impression that I'm attacking bid bots as the source of the problem.
I definitely, just for the record, I do actually get that sense at times. So with your next statement should be interesting.
Well, I want to be clear that I think bid bots are reactionary. Basically, they're a solution to a symptom of a problem.
Okay, so what are the symptoms? What are the problems? What are we talking about here?
Okay, the whole issue we currently have, which I think part of the thing that you were talking about addressing, and one of the things even Dracos was kind of mentioning, we need people that want to invest and maintain some level of value in this platform.
Yes.
Okay, so the only way we do that is either provide a way that they can make a lot of money, which they do with bid bots, or we make other lucrative investment potential.
Okay. What's your other lucrative investment potential?
This is one of those things where I keep talking about fixing curation because I really feel like it has to keep getting brought up. We need more people talking about it. If you what's the reason you go to any website? Like, say you want to go to Reddit or you want to go to YouTube or you want to go to any site to look something up.
I mean, if you're asking what's the reason do people go to internet website, I would have to say the number one reason is porn.
Okay, well, we could go that route, but I think ultimately the quality of that porn would be the deciding factor, right?
All right, I can't do this. I'm sorry that I took us here. I rescind it. I regret it. I regret everything. Okay, so you were saying about Reddit. We're sticking with Reddit. I'm not going there.
Okay, well, obviously quality is very subjective as far as genres, all that stuff. We need lots of different sources of input. We need basically people competing to, there's going to be niche communities, there's going to be niche genres, all that stuff, but ultimately we want people curating and moving the best quality content, the most viewed content to the top so that people come to the site for those things. Correct?
Have you seen Block Trade's post within the last 2 hours?
Block trades aren't very on the same page with a lot of things, but I would go check them out after this.
So it is worth looking because Bernie Sanders is actually in favor of what Block Trades is talking about. So Bernie, who literally just put up a post about what a shithead Block Trades is for his price scammy bullshit website, and within 2 hours or within 8 hours of that is now in his comments saying, well, I'm shocked, but this is something we can both agree on. And I think Block Trades, I haven't read this thoroughly because I've been on air the entire time this has been out. But just looking through that, he seems to have some similar thoughts because I think he's talking about going back to a 50-50 curation reward. He talks about some downvoting, and he also mentions the 30-minute rule. So you might actually have, one of the biggest names on the platform proposing some of the same things that you are.
Right, and ultimately, I think we're going to all, obviously not everyone, but I think in general, the majority is going to probably move towards this consensus. There has to be a reason for people to come here other than just, essentially playing the lottery. That's kind of what using bid bots and hoping to get on the trending page and hoping to get a bunch of people voting for you. It's kind of just gambling for attention.
I mean, that's definitely what I did yesterday. Was it yesterday? I forget when I made that post. But, I mean, I am... There hasn't been a lot of people that I've seen do this, but it was 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, I spent 120 SBD, which is $240, and I spent it on BidBots with the full intention of buying my way onto trending so that I could get the word out about my Steam panel discussion, which is happening on Saturday. So I've done that once, and then I saw Bernie Sanders do it immediately thereafter. So now I've seen it happen twice. I don't know if it has happened other times than that, but I've seen 2 examples now where people have used BidBots to buy their way on trending.
Right. I think the problem is we don't offer, basically, like, as a platform, and Steemit as a company is not offering valid competition to these services. I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with the services existing, because they're fixing a symptom. They're, like, you get a cut, you get a Band-Aid, those 2 things kind of go together. But, like, if you address the problem of why do you keep walking through a briar bush, you're going to need to buy Band-Aids every day.
So what's the alternative? I know that the alternative doesn't exist, but what's your vision?
I mean,
Shane, hold on. Do you see what Shane posted? Shane is a savage.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I think we have to look at ways to make investment in the platform both profitable and relevant. I mean, for all intents and purposes, there's no point for a new user to come on and invest in a platform. If they're going to spend money, why wouldn't they just put it into a bid bot and then hope to get a big payout, take that funds out, and do it again?
So what does the alternative look like?
I really feel like the alternative is, a lot of people don't like it whenever they first hear it, but you have to give up some of the author rewards. It has to make sense for people to vote on content. And right now, you are literally taking a loss voting on content. It makes no business sense to vote for another person.
So, that's not the one that's constantly in my brain. I'll have to think about it more. I haven't formulated my thoughts on that. The one thing that's in my brain, so like we have rewards where if you curate early, you will receive curation from everybody else that votes on you. And it was much worse in the previous hard fork, but that seemed to lead to like massive pigpiling on just a handful of posts. And now it does seem like in linear rewards, the distribution is quite a bit different. I mean, it just went from 25 major authors, or maybe even fewer, to maybe 100 or more. So I've definitely seen that more people have gotten a bigger piece of the pie since linear rewards went out.
Okay, but I would actually argue that that's not true, because what it is it's taking those rewards from those whales that are basically just delegating their SP to BidBots, and it's diversifying them, but you're still sending the SB to those whales. So
hold on, those BidBots account for like around 2% of the entire Steam on the platform. So I have a hard time saying that it's all about BidBots. BidBots are 2%. You can't tell me that the platform is, drastically altered by something that only has 2%. I agree that they change it. I agree that they have a footprint, but I don't know, the statement of it's all about them, I can't believe that. Okay,
so let's take them out of the equation then. But if we think about the fact that rewards are being artificially, it's basically being made to look like there's an artificial diversification of rewards whenever you factor that in. So even if rewards have gotten slightly better, it's still skewed.
Certainly, the author rewards, look better. I think that's a fair statement. I have not looked at, I wouldn't know where to say where is the money going on the platform. I don't have like a page I can look at for what account has received the most Steam and Steam Power through author rewards, and through. I mean, it's so hard to tell, right? How do you know?
Well, I think the biggest issue that a lot of people do know about and don't really talk about is the fact that people comment vote at the last minute. But I mean, we've talked about that some, and I know you brought it up.
Yeah, it was Paco has one right now. Paco has maybe $200 of self votes in a 1-year-old post.
Right. So I would say that's probably the majority of the leak is people doing bullshit like that. And I mean, that's not going to go away.
Well, I would love to see. I mentioned this earlier on the show. Since Steemit is sitting on a crap ton of Steam power and they're not using it, it doesn't hurt them to use it for downvotes. So I would love to see not only Steam Cleaners, but 3 or 4 other versions of Steam Cleaners. Maybe there's a bot cleaners, and maybe there's a shit cleaners, and maybe there's a plagiarism cleaners and a hate speech cleaners. And we get a bunch of services that, right now we're waiting on whales to generously donate their curation to go do downvotes, which doesn't have curation. And we're trusting that generous whales will spend their Steam power and not downvote shit.
Right. From a business standpoint, that's ridiculous. We should not be doing that.
Yeah. So another option is to, Paco is back to 0. Nice job, Spaminator. So this is the kind of thing that I think will actually prevent some of this shit. That he spent literally, I don't know, $200 of self votes, and it just all got down to 0. And if as a community we know, hey, if we shit post and spam upvote our comments, this is the consequence, then maybe people won't do it.
But think about what that really means. He had $200 worth of comments. $400 has now gone out of the reward pool because we had to go and basically counteract that $200.
Well, but that's what Spaminator is there for. So they get delegated. But we should be thankful because that $400 is now sitting in the reward pool. Paco got screwed for trying to cheat the system. Spaminator, that's its purpose. So we should be, this is great news. Instead of $200 leaching out to some asshole that was self-voting shit comments, we now have $200 extra and that Steam power is like gone, or the voting power that was from that is gone, and it's all shoved back into the reward pool for the rest of us. When people shit post and they get nuked by a cleaner group, that is great for the reward pool.
I mean, I highly agree. I'm just trying to think of how we get somewhere where this makes business sense and it's sustainable.
Well, hold on, because when I started a series on the top 30 or top 28, I happen to be 28 right now. So the top 28 most highly paid authors. And one of the ones that's in there in like the 15 to 20 range is Steam Cleaners. And Steam Cleaners has 1 million Steam, but they don't upvote themselves. That it's entirely used on downvoting, and there's no curation reward for that. So then I was asking myself, well, shit, they don't self upvote. How the hell are they doing this? And it's all whales that appreciate the service that they're doing, and they upvote those posts, and they run around and they collect rewards for it. It's like the post rewards that they get for showing transparency on how they're downvoting things. And they're one of the most rewarded groups that are on the platform right now. So if you're looking for a sustainable model, go start up a group that is designed to counteract shit upvotes or bot votes or whatever, and try to get some delegation from whales and say, look, here's our pilot project. This is what we're doing. And maybe even Steam. I really think Steemit is a group that should do this because they're just sitting on it. So as long as you make pledges to not upvote your own stuff and only use it to downvote, then it doesn't change the reward pool. In fact, it will help the reward pool because the Steemit votes are still not used, but now they're counteracting, self-voting or bidbot abuse, and that should be great for the rest of us. So hopefully somebody in this audience or somebody on the platform says, hey, you know what I should do? I should go counteract all this shit. And hopefully Steam or some other whales start supporting their work.
Definitely agreed with that. But I'm back on the other note. You're a scientific math guy, right?
I like to think so.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this in math terms for you. You give me $100 upvote. $75 of that goes to me. $25 of that goes to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you get really lucky with curation and it gets up to like 35, $40 for you. You still gave me more than you got. And you're the one that had to invest to do that.
Wait a second. If we're doing this math, like think about the comment. If we're leeching out a lot of the rewards through somebody that's commenting, they're then the author, and then you vote on that. It won't change the fact that you are giving 100% payout to yourself by changing the author reward mix or that ratio.
Maybe we also have to address self voting.
Well, addressing self voting is really hard, largely because it's so easy to avoid. Like, why, if I can't self vote, why don't I just take 1,000,000 Steam power and put it on Agrode 1 and Agrode 2, and Agrode 1 will make shit comments, and Agrode 2 will vote those, and Agrode 2 will make shit comments, and Agrode 1 will vote those, and whatever rule you just made about not upvoting yourself, I have just dodged it by creating a second account, which takes almost no work, and now I've dodged your no self-voting rule.
Correct. So we're still back at people basically have to police each other.
Yeah, which I think goes back to take Steam that is sitting on Steemit and use that for downvotes. I think that's the healthiest. That will, it costs investors nothing. It returns value back to the reward pool. And we're going to have some crying that happens. So I think it's especially important to make this like super freaking transparent. But I like that.
All right, but it's still, I feel like we have to figure out something to address curation as a whole. Like it has to be fixed to make content the focus of the platform instead of payouts.
I don't have, it's too late for me to have good thoughts on that. I don't, I had concerns about this hard fork, and some of those things have happened. And I'm not sure that my brain has fully wrapped around that. In part, part of delegating my stake all the time to different groups is that I'm not a master of curation. So your concerns, there are lots of things that my brain can function on, but I just don't have a lot of experimental data on how to be a good curator, what helps, what doesn't. That's not in my wheelhouse. So I don't know how to have a super productive conversation about it. What I'd look for is really feedback from Izaria and Julia and people like Acidio and Gmux and Curie about, they're really focused on the curation aspect. But I don't know. It's not something that's, it's not a good fit for me as a person because it's not what I focus on. And I don't have enough skill in that to really say this is what has to happen. It just isn't on my radar enough.
Well, that actually kind of makes me think maybe there's even, like, maybe we even have to, like, focus on getting curation witnesses in place. I know Curie runs a witness, right?
They do. And I'm not, yeah, I mean, my next stop, as I mentioned earlier, is to go build MSP-curation and make that a thing and I'm pledging at least 10,000 Steam power to it, assuming that I stay in the top 20. That's where my next batch of Steam power will go. So I support it, and I think it's a huge part of this platform, and I think it needs to happen. So I'm smart enough to recognize that. I'm just not a good enough curator to know how to do it better than that, other than to say, these people are really good curators. Let's go make them in charge of some more Steam power.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. And I mean, it takes all different kinds of people to basically assemble the team that develops this further. I'm just thinking, I actually had never even considered it until tonight that we really need curation witnesses. I don't know, I'm going to think more on that too.
Well, hopefully we'll see. I hope I'm not the only one, but we'll go build MSP curation and we'll turn that into a thing, and hopefully more and more people support it. And yeah, I really, what I'd like to see, my challenge. So on every single Re-Steam contest, I put in that the ancient Steam proverb of "Give a man an upvote, he'll eat for a day," or "Give a minnow an upvote, they'll eat for a day." Give a minnow a Re-Steam, you'll eat forever. And I really believe that. You know what? One big upvote doesn't have the ability to drastically change a person's life on this platform. I mean, maybe it does a little, but it's so fleeting. Like, yay, my one post hit $200. I got 10 followers out of it, and now what? I mean, I got Curie back in the day. I've gotten a couple big votes out of it, but I don't think that's that wasn't what launched me. And this is the entire reason why the Minnow Support Project has a Re-Steam contest, is the much faster route to long-term sustainable growth to me was the Re-Steams, because you're able to get many more followers, which relates to infinite. That's where your sustainable revenue will come from as a platform author, not from Curie votes. And you have to go game a system to not get a certain amount of votes up to 24 hours, and you can't have so much rep or too many followers like that. That's not where that sustainable income is going to come from. I think it has to come from Re-Steams, and that was my philosophy when I created Minnow Support. So I know that curation is going to be a part of that. What I'm hoping will also be a part of that is we're going to find some of these authors that we like, and we're hopefully going to keep supporting the same ones until they're able to grow out of it. I don't just want to support somebody once and, slap our hands together and call it a day. I hope that we're picking some authors that we're going to help push and help them grow on the platform.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. And that kind of makes me wonder why it's a year later and we still don't have a hide Re-Steams tab. But, it is what it is.
I can't answer that. But, I know that GoSteam had it set up where all the Re-Steams were hidden. So there is a way in Condenser that you can build that in, and I know that there are people working on this, and I know that if we work on this and we collectively make this a thing that we as a community focus on, we can change the rules. And so I remain an open voice and try to speak for the people in the minnows. I hear that curation is valuable. This is why I'm spending the next 10,000 Steam power that I earn as a witness supporting it. And I don't know, hopefully we can find a balance between flagging, bid bots, upvoting, curation, sort of pooled curation efforts. And if we put all those things together, then hopefully we'll actually create a better ecosystem for us all to live within. That sounds okay?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, Clay, you're a very thoughtful man. I love having you as part of the Minnow Support Project. And I do have to say that Shane's meme or Shane's little image of you in the witness protection on this interview was amazing.
Yep.
You do have the little voice modulator thing going. I love it. All right, bud. I'm pulling you off air. Thanks so much for coming on. And all right, we got one more interview here. We're going to go bring on Saipan Damashi.